We finally know what Ben Simmons is going to do this season. The last we've seen from him is him fishing in Australia, posting these pics, showing to the world that he's happy and enjoying his summer. The last time we saw Ben Simmons play in the NBA was during the playoffs, where he played with the Clippers in Game 5, but only for 11 minutes, simply because Tyronn Lue wanted to use him for a specific strategy. The Clippers ultimately ended up losing to the Nuggets and got eliminated, so you can say in Ben's last game with the Clippers, he didn't play well. Over the past couple of years, Ben Simmons has literally lost his NBA value, from literally being the first pick in the NBA draft, making the All-Star team in 3 straight seasons, being in conversations of the best defensive player in the entire NBA. Ben Simmons is now literally known as a player that's not a go-to, someone you can pay for cheap to finish off your bench spots. The biggest rumor about this summer was that the New York Knicks were heavily targeting Ben Simmons because they want to go full throttle for that championship this season, and they even offered Ben a contract, a 1-year, $3.7 million deal. The Knicks were willing to even go over their second apron threshold to bring Ben Simmons on, but Ben Simmons didn't fully agree and didn't like the option. The former All-Star and Rookie of the Year, who has struggled recently with injuries and handling the public pressures of the league, is an option for the Knicks because of his upside as an elite defender and athlete to fill their backup point guard spot. However, Simmons is sending a message that he isn't sure if he wants to continue. This was Ben Simmons' last contract with the Clippers, a 1-year, $1.08 million deal. So the fact that the Knicks offered him more money than this and he didn't take it, what is Ben Simmons thinking? Over his entire NBA career, he has accumulated over $200 million in terms of career earnings, so of course, maybe Ben wants to hang it up. And that's simply the biggest question surrounding Ben right now. Is he ready to retire?
This brother, I mean, you know, I'm just not going to even go there. He's lucky he's not in prison for that.
You down here in Miami, I can show you where he work out. He be working out down
really?
here.
I'm sure he did work out down here. I'm sure of all the places he could really get focused and zero in on his basketball prowess, he gonna pick Miami. I'm sure he is down here.
These were his numbers playing with the Brooklyn Nets. 6.2 points a game, 5.2 rebounds, 6.9 assists in 33 games. These were his numbers playing for the Clippers. 2.9 points, 3.8 rebounds, 3.1 assists in 17 games. But we want to see the best of Ben Simmons back. I would say the 2019 NBA season was his best year, where he averaged 16.9 points, 8.8 rebounds, 7.7 assists, 1.4 steals, 0.8 blocks. And with Ben Simmons only being 29 years old, we still believe he has a lot to bring to the NBA. And from him specifically, he just gave us clarity on his future. Shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring the channel. Easy Buckets family, if you want cheap tickets to go watching an NBA game this season, tickets are now available on SeatGeek and you have to buy them because they are cheap. On checkout, be sure to use my discount promo code EasyBuckets with an S at the end to get an extra $20 off your first purchase. Your cheap tickets on SeatGeek just became cheaper. So the last big thing about Ben was him rejecting that contract from the New York Knicks. And then of course fans are thinking he's going to retire. But this was his response. Ben Simmons says he's not retiring, still waiting for contract. There was a fan that wrote on Instagram, "Is bro retired?" And Ben Simmons himself replied, "No." You can see it on the post right here. So there it is. Ben is saying he still wants to play in the league, but from what it looks like, the only problem is he wants to get paid more than that $3.7 million veteran minimum deal. But the problem in the entire league is there is no NBA team that really has the cap space to give Ben the money that he wants. So there's a big issue here. Ben is gonna have to potentially lower his pride, lower his asking price, and maybe join a team to prove he is valuable again, because his statistics over the last 2 teams he's played for, they weren't good numbers. The Knicks were really heavily interested in Ben Simmons. Even Jalen Brunson himself was saying, bring Ben on the squad. He would be a great forward off the bench they could also play the guard position. But now the Knicks already made their moves. They signed Landry Shamet and brought in Malcolm Brogdon. So Ben Simmons is no longer in the mix for the New York Knicks. We also heard big rumors that Ben Simmons was also in talks playing for the Boston Celtics. The Celtics were even able to offer him around $3 million, but he ultimately did not accept. So of course Ben will not be going to play for a team. But let's be real, Ben doesn't want to play for a team that he's really unsure of how competitive they're going to be this season. So of course I understand why he did not like the Boston Celtics idea. But there's a new rumor of the perfect team for Ben Simmons, and I really like the idea. The team that could make some sense for Ben Simmons right now is playing with the Memphis Grizzlies, joining Ja Morant. You see, Memphis tends to play fast on the court. We all know they have a new offensive system, and they're one of the quicker teams in the entire league. And if you know how Ben Simmons plays, he prefers that style of basketball, where he can run an open transition, be the playmaker, and make plays literally on the opposing end of the floor when defenses are weak. Specifically in half-court sets for the Memphis Grizzlies, they're really good at beating the opponents, specifically in pressure on the rim and smart ball movement. That is the kind of player Ben Simmons is. He'll literally fit right well into the system, and he can be a menace, as mentioned, in transition. We know Ben is an excellent passer. He can hit every cutting player as well, which is what the Memphis Grizzlies love to do. And we all know his biggest flaw is that he can't space the floor, but he can run the offense, especially off the bench. We all know specifically with Ja Morant, he's been dealing with some injuries over the past couple of years. Signing Ben Simmons to a better deal off the bench would be a nice insurance option in case that happens again. Ben Simmons joining the Grizzlies doesn't mean he has to be a starter, but he can come in, play quality minutes, and could give the Memphis Grizzlies even a nice duo in the backcourt after trading away Desmond Bane. We all know the Grizzlies are hoping to make the playoffs this season and get back in the competitive nature, and Simmons could be an interesting depth piece for them at a very good price. Simmons could use Memphis as a team to help boost his value for the season and the entire NBA, and then of course next offseason re-enter free agency. So overall, for the Memphis Grizzlies, this is a low-risk move that could be a high reward. And with the season about to start, Simmons could latch on with a team like the Grizzlies, and it could make a big difference throughout the entire year for a team that needs something to look forward to. But on a realistic note and ultimate reality, everybody would love to have Ben Simmons on the team. Honestly, he's an all-around factor, and him coming off the bench, you don't really need him to do much. Just play quality minutes when asked to. So with that being said, I want to know your thoughts. Where is Ben Simmons going to sign? Because I'm sure he's going to play for an NBA team this season. Let's get a chat going in the comments below. But we all know about the Jonathan Kuminga situation. He just signed with the Warriors on a 2-year deal, but the truth and reality is he's really happy about this because the Warriors can still trade him. We just made a video talking all about that, so check it out. But other than that, take it easy, God bless. See y'all next time on Easy Buckets. Peace.